as well as I see Mocha's in the house. Thank you so much, all you groups that are bringing the message to our communities, because it's hard. I know how hard it is to talk to your family members. I know how hard it is to talk to, especially if you're a Latino, you're African-American male. These are things that just aren't spoken about, you know. My father died of prostate cancer, and you know, it was a difficult time for us because we thought that he was doing what he needed to do, but you know, he could handle things. You know what I mean? He had it all taken care of. You know, you didn't have to ask him anything because he could take care of it. He knew what was going on. That's not the case. Imagine the research that's been done, the incredible researchers that we have. I see Susan Windham-Bannister is here from the Life Sciences Center, who's investing in organizations and in companies that are going to do the right thing and looking at our communities. But at the end of the day, we have to keep on talking, make sure that we have that support around individuals as well, to make sure that we're doing the prevention, but also making sure that they're adhering. People are adhering, that they're sticking to what the doctors say, that they're listening to and finding other ways to make sure that they're engaged in the topic. You know, again, you know, my father he served in the Second World War. He was a proud Puerto Rican man. And at the same time, that's probably what hindered him because of that. And those are those messages that I think that's important for us to bring to our communities, especially those communities where talking about a digit test isn't frowned upon. Like, what? Forget that. And I think we have to have those conversations. So I'm proud that all of us are here today to talk about this because it's so important, be it prostate cancer, be it breast cancer. At the end of the day, it's all how do we continue to invest in prevention and wellness initiatives at the local level, at the state level, and maintain what we have at the federal level, which is what we won today, which is a really big deal, that I'm happy to be here with you today with all of my colleagues that invested themselves and all of you too. Thank you so much.
And now I'm pleased to introduce to you Senator William Brownsberger, who's chair of Joint Committee of Public Services. Senator.
It's been a real privilege for me over the past few months to get to know Dr. Stern and to benefit from her very lucid, concise explanations of what we in fact need to do about this problem of prostate cancer and the kind of improved diagnostic technology that we need to put in place. It makes a ton of sense. And so I'm very eager to help in every way I can to advance that cause. And I want to congratulate and thank all of my colleagues who are with me today who are part of that effort. And so together, let's see what we can do. Thank you.
Lovely sound. And now I'm introducing to you Senator Harriet Chandler, who's co-chair, Prevention for Health Caucus.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Harriet Chandler, and I co-chair the Prevention for Health Caucus. I'm also the vice chair of the Public Health Caucus, Public Health Committee. And I'm also the wife of a survivor of prostate cancer and the daughter of a man who died from prostate cancer. So this is a personal issue for me. This isn't a political issue. It's a very personal issue. And when Representative Kulik started talking about the concerns that he went through 10 years ago, I remember what my husband and I went through 16 years ago as we tried to determine what was the best course of action. First of all, in the beginning, I'm so happy to see so many men here. This is important for you to be here, and absolutely. And it's important for us to be able to talk about this openly, because when getting my husband to have the test was not an easy situation. My father barely talked about the issue, didn't want to talk about it at all. If we don't talk about it, how can we prevent it? Thank you. If we don't talk about it, how can we make people aware of what they need to know to handle this appropriately. It's not a secret, and it will kill you if we keep it a secret, and we can't afford to do that. So I can only suggest to you that, Dr. Stern, we're so happy that you're here today with the AdMeTech and with this whole presentation on prostate cancer, because frankly, if we don't talk about it as we are doing today, if we don't make people aware of the tools that are out there to help them, it will win the battle. And remember, prostate cancer is the second most malignant type of cancer for men. It's also a public health priority, and we've got to remember that. It's a very important thing. So I leave you with the message that it's up to each and every one of us to celebrate today, because this is a very big day for all of us. This is a day where the federal government has come down, our Supreme Court has come down and said, we care about each and every one of you, and we want to make sure that each and every one of you has insurance and has the ability to get to the doctor for preventive care. It will mean a great deal to Massachusetts. It will mean a great deal to every single one of us. Thank you so much for coming, and good luck.
Thank you, Senator. Of course, talking about it is important. This morning I tweeted about it. This morning I updated my Facebook status saying that I was going to be here at the Prostate Cancer Awareness Day, and I had more comments on my wall about, I'm a survivor, I went to the doctor, early detection saved my life. So you can tweet, you can talk, you can post. It's all about communicating. Now it's my honor to introduce to you Representative Robert Fennell, Vice Chair, Joint Committee on Consumer Protection and Licensure. Or maybe not, you know? I'm going to introduce to you, yes, he's voting for something very important. Representative Kevin Honan, Chair, Joint Committee on Housing. I saw his face, no? Oh, same vote, okay. All right. I know the next two people are here. I see their smiling faces sitting over there. Boston City Council, Ayanna Presley and Tito Jackson. Are you guys ready? Sure, why not? We're going to go with Councilor Presley first.
Please. Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, actually, still, I suppose. I'm honored to be here. Dr. Stern, I just want to thank you so much for just being on the front lines of this battle and just for sojourning on, all the advocates, for your vigilance. You know, it's easy to get discouraged in these fights, but I thank you for your resolve and your conviction, and really for your love, because that's really what this is, a personal mission and a labor of love. And so I thank you. Again, my name is Ayanna Presley. I'm one of 4 citywide city councilors. I'm also the founder and the chairwoman of a new standing policy committee on the Boston City Council called the Committee on Women and Healthy Communities. And so many people know of my advocacy on behalf of girls and women, but I'm an advocate for the health of our communities, period. And the health of the individual, the family, and the community are inextricably linked. You know, that's why this day is so very important. We know that information and knowledge is power, and that begins with awareness. There are so many barriers to our men pursuing preventive health care. We could talk about systemic variables, we could talk about costs, we could talk about cultural barriers, but the biggest one is the man himself. That is the biggest barrier. So I want to just say to all of the men here, and I encourage you to challenge the men in your life to know that if you don't serve you first, you can't serve anyone else. You can't serve your family. You can't serve your church, you can't serve your community, and we need you. So we need you to pursue preventive care for the purposes of early detection and diagnosis, and provided you hear those dreaded words, that you know that you are not alone. My stepfather is currently battling prostate cancer, And I know that there's a great isolation that comes from that, embarrassment. And it's awkward to have these conversations. But I also know if you're not willing to make people uncomfortable and to make people feel a little embarrassed, we won't save lives. So I'm glad we're creating a safe space where we can talk about breasts and prostate and do that and feel safe and, again, strengthened in our resolve. So raise your hand if you're willing to make somebody feel a little embarrassed in the name of saving lives. And the last thing, just to piggyback on some of the comments that were made earlier, you know, for people who have been doing this work a long time, sometimes when people see you in the State House or City Hall or walking down the street, I'm sure they already anticipate what you're about to come to them and say. And some of them might be annoyed. Who cares? If we stop talking about it, we'll stop working on it. Okay? So thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. And again, thank all of the advocates. I see Tom Farrington here, a longtime friend, and just thank you so much.
Let's give it up. One.
I'm pleased to be here with my brother and colleague, Counselor Tito Jackson. I can't believe I forgot to say that.
Let's give it up one more time for this powerful sister. And she's actually the only woman on the Boston City Council. So she's the one who runs things there. We know that. Let's give it up for Ayanna Pressley one more time, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tito Jackson, and I'm proud to represent where Whittier Street is, the Roxbury section of Boston. And today I stand here as a proud American, but I'm even prouder as my status in living in the state of Massachusetts. It is our legislature who stepped forward and did the right thing in the state of Massachusetts and created what's happening in Washington today. So I stand here as a proud Massachusetts resident. I just want to thank y'all for changing this little part of the world. It's a really big deal, and it's one of those days, I think, in my life that I will never, ever forget. And so I stand here also as a proud friend and admirer of Faina Stern and AdMeTech. I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm a black man. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I just wanted to go on camera live and give y'all that information. But we are doing a disservice right now to this conversation when it comes to PSA. It is wrong, and I'm not going to call it criminal because I know we're in a house of law and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, it is wrong what we're doing to black men and many men by telling people that PSA doesn't work. That is one of the worst things that we can do. We know when we're speaking about STIs, HIV is not the most communicable STI. But you know what? You don't tell folk that. You don't say, oh, it's not as communicable as other disease states. No, you scare them. And you motivate them to do the right thing. I know my father likely passed from prostate cancer 10 years ago. He passed on June 25th. What we have to do every day is to be bold, and as Counselor Pressley said, make some folks uncomfortable. And the advocacy, folks, understand the fact that you are always in our ear means that you're at the top of our list. And don't be afraid, and we know exactly what you're going to say.